Hi, this is Stuart Bruce from Washington College. I'm going to do a lab demonstration of Module C in establishing your 3D world lesson. Now, so far we've added buildings, we've extruded, we've enhanced the quality of our aerial image. What we want to do next is actually add some additional 3D objects. Actually, we're going to add trees and we're going to add cars to add some realism to our scene. So if you navigate to your data folder, you're going to go ahead and add the layer called St. Michael's Trees. We'll bring that over to our data view. And if you go ahead and zoom the layer on trees, and what we'll do is we'll turn off some of the other layers. And what you're going to see is our various trees. Now, for this particular project, if I turn the parcel data back on, you can see that I have digitized trees in part of the town, but not in other parts. That's because when we did our animated flyover, we actually flew directly over this area here. We didn't really fly over here, so we didn't do trees. Now, if you're lucky, you'll have a tree layer already set for you, but odds are that you might not. So what we did is we actually had one of our interns go through and put a tree dot on every single tree. Now, if we just have a single layer with no attributes, we are only able to create one kind of tree. So what we did is when we digitized the trees, if I open the attribute table up here, we basically assigned ID numbers to the different trees, and we have actually 5 main types and 1 special tree. This allows us to create different trees. So if I go ahead and classify St. Michael's trees, I'll open up the layer properties, go to the symbology tab, go to categories, unique values, value field ID. I'm going to go ahead and add all values, and you can see we have trees 0 through 4, and then 1 special tree where we only have 1. So I go ahead and click OK, and then the first tree I'm going to go ahead and assign, pull up the symbol selector. Right now I'm left with 3D vehicles, but I'm going to go ahead and change my style references. I'm going to turn off vehicles, turn on trees, click OK, and then I can come and select whatever tree I want. So the first tree, tree 0, is going to end up being a pine tree. And if you want to be creative, you can pick really any tree you want for the exercise. So I'm going to select pine tree. I'm actually going to make that just a little bit larger than the default. I'm going to go ahead and make it 15. I can, if I want to, kind of change this sort of background color. I want to make mine look a little bit greener, so I'll make it slightly darker green. Go ahead and click OK, and then I populated the trees. Now I'll zoom in and show you. Kind of zoom in a little bit. You can sort of see our trees. So I'm going to go ahead and classify the rest of the trees based on the lesson, and I'll be right back. All right, so I went ahead and did the rest of the trees. I made tree number 9 a kind of special tree, and when I zoom out, you can see the effect that this would have. I'm going to give you a little bit of view. There's all my trees, a little bit of variety. Now if I turn on my buildings and my aerials, and then I zoom in on a particular street scene, you can see how the trees kind of add some realism. Next, we're going to go ahead and add cars. So the first thing we do here, we're just going to bring our car layer over, drop that in. And our cars had the same basic distribution that the trees had. I'll go ahead and show you. Turn off this other layers. Except for the parcel data. Zoom to view. And then you can see where I've scattered my cars. Now, the way we did cars, if we zoom in again and we turn on the aerial images, what you'll notice is that we went through and manually added a dot on every single car that showed up on the aerial image. It looked kind of weird if we saw a car on the aerial and didn't have an actual 3D symbol. I'm going to go ahead and classify the cars. For cars, basically we had a car type. Now ESRI gives you, in their standard car set symbol, they give you 24 different cars. Now if you'll notice, the cars in the photo are pointed at different directions at different angles. So when we digitize the cars, we basically set up a model where we could have the car automatically in one of 4 directions. And then we have the possibility of different car types. So the first direction, 1, without a letter behind it, I'm going to pull the chart over and show you. So this is the chart we came up with. No code is a rotation of 180. And then you can see L, R, and N have their own rotations. So if we follow this sort of guide, we can really do this very quickly. I'm going to go ahead and open up the first car, which is 1. And I'm going to have to turn off the trees and turn on 3D vehicles, hit OK. So that first car I'm just going to randomly pick as an SUV. It's no code, so it has a 180-degree rotation. So I'm going to go 180 like that and click OK. Now, if you want to do this quickly, just do the next one that doesn't have a code too, because you know the angle is 180. So this alto angle 180, like so. And I can plow through and do all of those. If I go to do 1L, I'm going to pick 1L, make that an Aston Martin. L has a rotation of 270, so I'm going to go ahead and do 270 like that and click OK. Now, I'm not going to do all of them right now for the purposes of time, but just to show you what that might look like, if I then zoom in, you can see my cars are facing the right direction, kind of looks natural with the scene. So you can go ahead and do that yourself for the whole thing. And like I said, if you do them, like do all the twos, then do all the ends, it goes a lot quicker. Now, the whole reason that we did this project in the first place at my lab was St. Michael's is a very nice town, rather historic. We zoom in, we can see we've got populated areas. But out the end of town, there was a huge open space, and a developer bought this space, basically wanted to put a huge development here. And some of the citizens of the town were opposed to it. But they had a hard time explaining to people how that development would look in comparison to the rest of the town. So what we did is we went ahead and got the plans for the development, and we're going to go ahead and bring those in. They're actually in this folder called Miles Point. So if I open the Miles Point folder up, bring the Miles clip over like so. These are actually the developer's plans. And sometimes you have an issue when you bring a layer like this in. You'll notice that it's kind of conflicting with the air photo because it's on the same level. So if we go into our Miles clip, basically go into our base heights, we can do a layer offset. So I'm going to do a layer offset with a value of 1. And that's basically going to lift that plan up off the ground. So now we can see the whole plan. We also went through then and we created digital layers for where we thought the buildings would be. So if I come over here and add all buildings, and then I'm going to add all outs, and basically you won't see anything happen at first. That's because they're at the lower base level. But if we go ahead and extrude all the buildings, extrude, and we can just go ahead and give those a value of 30. If I type 30 in, click OK. And then we can do the same thing with the outs. We're going to set a value of that for 15, like so. And then we can turn all our other layers on. And now we can visualize how the new development will look in comparison. Now, I was talking about our flight plan, and there's actually a PowerPoint in the lesson that you can use to see our analysis of this particular project. Give me a second here for it to zoom out full. And if I use my fly tool, I'm going to fly in. I'm going to do it pretty fast here, so I'm trying to save time. Might go a little too fast if I'm going to crash. But now we can fly basically over the town, and you get a feel for what the town looks like. And then we can fly over the development. Now, when you're doing animations like this, a lot of cool stuff you can do. I can see some cars on the road that we added. Our finished product animation was a lot better than this sort of random flyby. So I hope you enjoyed the exercise, and thank you very much.